Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. So, if you have already installed Trenza, you can go on your Play Store on your Android phone, and then you can update the newest version that I have since uploaded on Play Store. So, in this version, as you can see on your screen, you are now able to select the channel that you want, because you were complaining that everything is just mixed up, and you were complaining about that. And to those other traditional healers, they have been giving me a lot of problems, because they have been sending a lot of their messages there saying that they want to make people to become ritualists. We are not trying to do that on that platform. So I have been restricting a lot, because I've been getting a lot of those messages. So I have been restricting those type of confessions by traditional healers, some who even claim that they can use the head of a person and you can make money. You can use it only once. A message that I received yesterday, and you won't be able to see it before I approve it. So I see that it is a little bit of a challenge, but we'll always block those type of confessions. So you can now download and you can listen to your favorite channel. African Confessions is there. You can see it on the top navigation bar. Keep supporting the app. Then the message that I have brought for you, it reads like this. Hello, Brother Nanshi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a man and I regret because of the choices that I made in life. This is what I did, Brother Nanshi. I wanted to be rich at all costs, and I told myself that even if I have to marry a woman who worships the devil, I really do not care, because at that time, the only option that was left after I had tried to work really hard all my life was to get married to a woman whom I was going to make my wife, who was very rich. But to find such a woman, it was very difficult. And I warn other people that there is no shortcut to life. You cannot wake up and then you find yourself rich. There are processes in life that you have to follow, and if you do not follow those processes, then you are going to see the consequences of your actions, as what is happening to me right now. All the boys that my wife gave birth to, they have all since passed away, and I made a covenant with my wife. And the tricky part about it was that before we made this love covenant, when she said that if I agree to marry you, then let us make a covenant so that you will never break my heart. Let us make a covenant so that you will never touch a woman ever again in your life. Let us make a covenant so that you will never sleep with a woman, any other woman, rather than sleeping with me, and you will never cheat on me. When I was looking at my wife, because I did not know that in their family they worship the devil himself, I looked at her and I said, why would I ever want to cheat on a beautiful woman who is as wealthy as he is? I will never do that. But now I regret. With the money that my wife has, with the money that she gives to me, but I do not have a son whom I am going to give all that my wife and her relatives have given to me, the businesses that they have assisted me in running of that business. What is the use? Because my name is going to be forgotten after I would have died, because I was told that I am never going to have a son in my life ever again, and I already lost the sons that my wife had given birth to. This is how I met my beautiful wife. Back in those days, this was a very long time ago. There was no social media. There was no WhatsApp at all. life was just a little bit difficult for me. I used to work for this other man, and we would go around fixing houses, doing some piece jobs. We were then told by our boss that there was this other place where we were supposed to go and do this other piece job. So I agreed, and I went with my other guys that I used to work with. When we finally arrived in Borodzel, by the way, I have changed the name of that place, and I have said that it is Borodzel because I am trying to protect my identity. When I arrived in Borodzel, I saw that the owner of that apartment, it was a very beautiful single woman, and she was a little bit mature, much older than I am, and I said that this is the woman that I want. In her, I saw the window of opportunity, my own window of opportunity opened, and I knew that it was going to be closed very soon. So the day when she started to talk to me, this was after I had seen her. She was busy reading her novel, and I gathered the energy, and I went and I spoke with her. Even my guys that I was working with, they even asked me what I was trying to do, because this woman was way above my class, and she was never going to agree to date someone who was as poor as I was. But I told them that they should just watch and learn. So Brother Nashi, I then went to where she was, and I told her that I was in love with her from the moment that she had returned back from wherever she had gone to. She was driving this other beautiful Mercedes-Benz. When she had gotten out, I had immediately fallen in love with her. She looked at me and she said, "You have the nerves." But I told her that I wanted her, and she said that since you have the guts to date a woman like me, let me give you my phone numbers. And she gave me her phone numbers, and we started to communicate. In those days, you could mainly communicate using SMSs, so we would talk throughout the night, sending each other text messages, not WhatsApp messages. And she told me that she was so happy that God had brought a man like me into her life. And I said, I am the one who is supposed to be happy, because God has brought such a beautiful woman like you. And I was happy that I had finally managed to get a woman that was going to pull me out of poverty, because poverty had been afflicting me for a very long time. We started going out, rather let me say this woman was the one who would take me out, because I was broke. I did not have anything. I was just a broke guy that was dating a woman that was working at the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, as well as having several businesses. And I was happy. I was a stay-at-home boyfriend, because she said, I do not want you to keep on doing all of these piece jobs, because my family, they are very wealthy. My father is a wealthy man. My brothers, they are all wealthy. But yet you want to continue doing these piece jobs. It is far much better that you stay at home. Don't I work at the Reserve Bank? And I said, yes, you do work at the Reserve Bank. And she said, so don't I have businesses? And I said, yes, you have a business. And she said, so. And she told me that I was not supposed to go to work anymore, because she was going to take good care of me. And yes, she did take good care of me. I would say I would stay at home 24/7, and I was enjoying my life. We then got married. But before we got married, because I used to go to this other church that is called Forward in Faith, I grew up going to that Pentecostal church. The elders from the church, they heard that I was now dating a traditional healer's daughter. They came to me. They wanted to understand what was really going on, because in church, they used to encourage us that as a Christian, you are not supposed to yoke yourself to a non-Christian, because there are things that might affect your walk with God. And I did not understand it at that time, but now I understand. I told the elders that one day I was going to bring this traditional healer's daughter who was also participating in ancestral worship to church. That was my mission. In time, this woman, I thought that I was going to drag her to Christ, but I did not know that I was the one that was going to be seduced into the arms of the devils, even when the elders were telling me that what I was trying to do was very dangerous. I was supposed to try to find a woman who was a Christian, but when I looked at them, I said, these men, they are just jealous because it is my opportunity. I was driving a Toyota Prado at that time that my brother-in-law, who was in Australia, had bought for me, and he said that, brother-in-law, you can drive this car as much as you can, as much as you want. You can drive it, you can go with it wherever you want to go with it. And I said, these elders, now that I have a beautiful car like this, now that I have a beautiful woman that I am dating, that I'm getting ready to get married to, that is supporting me, they are jealous because of me. They want to be like me, but they don't have the same opportunity. They have never had the same opportunity that I have. And besides, my plan is that this woman, even though she engages in worshiping her dead relatives, but in time I am going to show her the way, and I am going to take her to my own church, and she will repent. It was a mistake, Brother Nashi. I was trying to seduce the devil. One day she told me that she was so happy about the way that our relationship was going, and she wanted me and her to go to the shops. There were things that we wanted to buy, and she told me that she wanted to do a dinner party for the marine spirits, because she wanted to thank the marine spirits for they had brought such a good man into her life. And she had told me that she had been trying to date for a very long time, and the man would always dump her. And whenever I would ask her, why is it that the men that you date end up dumping you, she did not respond to me until it was a little bit too late for me. We went to the shops, we bought rice, we bought sweets, we bought vodka, we bought too many things that I did not even know why we were buying them, like these other clay plates that they use in the white garment prophet churches. We bought those as well. And when we returned back to her apartment, she told me that we were going to talk to our ancestors, and to talk with our ancestors. Yes, we did. She was the one who was leading that whole ritual ceremony. She took a knife and she cut me just a little bit, and there was blood that was coming out. When the blood was coming out, then she cut herself as well. She had written on a small piece of paper that I, John, was going to love Sally. She was Sally for the rest of her life, and she, Sally, she was going to love John for the rest of her life. And she squeezed her own blood into her own clay plate, and then she took 2 eggs. The first egg, she smashed it on top of that paper that was inside the clay plate that was now full of my blood, and she smashed it. And when it was broken, she said, just like this egg has been broken, may John never break my heart. She did the same, and she said, just like this egg has been broken, may Sally never break John's heart. And this is the covenant that we have done. She then said, now let us go to the river. And we went to the river because she poured everything into this other clay pot that she uses for her rituals when she is talking to the dead. And we went to the river, and she started to wash. Yes, she washed the clay pot, and she said that this was sealing the love covenant that we had. And she said, promise me that you will never touch any other woman, because this is what the covenant says. And I said, I will never do such a thing. I was looking at all the money that my wife had, but I did not know about the consequences of the covenant. We returned back home. Fast forward, we got married, and we started staying together permanently. We had our kids, and what started to happen is that whenever my wife was pregnant and it was a boy, things would go so bad. She was always sick, and when she would give birth to that boy, all of my sons, they did not come out healthy. They always had a problem, and this was affecting me quite a lot because I could not understand what was really going on. But as for my daughters, they were born healthy. My sons will be born prematurely, and they were never healthy. And my sons, they started dying one by one. It was really painful. So one day she told me that we were supposed to visit a big sister. We went there, and I had also noticed that a big sister had lost 3 of her sons. So I did not understand what was really happening. When we got there, they wanted to tell me what had happened to my son, but my wife was scared to tell me alone. So she gave that task to her brother-in-law, who was her sister's husband. And her brother-in-law then said to me, let us just go out so that we can have a couple of drinks. We then went out. While we were busy drinking our alcohol, then the man started to cry, like he was crying really, really hard. And I asked him, why was he crying? And he told me that he was crying because of what had happened to all of his sons. I said, what happened to your sons? And he started laughing at me. And he said, it is far much better not to know what is going on than to know what is going on, because when you know what is going on in the family which we married into, then you won't have peace at all. You will know what happened to all of your children. And I said, please tell me what is happening. What happened to your children? And he told me the story. He also got married to his wife because she came from a very wealthy family. Later on, he then found out that the father-in-law, the father to our wives, had gone to Mozambique with his brothers because they wanted to be very powerful. So they were strengthened, and they were told that in order for them to keep on making money, they were supposed to offer their own sons. But then they decided to make a covenant that all the children that are born into the family by their daughters, if they are boys, then they are supposed to die. Their daughters are not supposed to have sons that live. They are born and then they die. That is the covenant that they did so that they can always be wealthy and so that they can always have money. When I was told this story, my heart was broken when I started to think that, so it means that my son, his spirit right now is used in a shrine somewhere where people want to make money rituals. And it was so heartbreaking. I confronted my wife and she said, how could I have ever told you that this is the case? But now that you know, you just need to understand and you need to be happy. I pretend as if I am a happy man, but deep down, my heart is filled with so much pain. I have so much pain in my heart, so much that I really do not know what else can I do. What hurts me is that the money is there. If I want to date another woman without my wife's knowledge, the money is there. But the problem is that we made a covenant, and my warning to other men out there, you just need to understand that you can never get rich quickly. There are always going to be consequences. Like what happened to me, I told myself that I was going to get rich after I would have gotten married to this beautiful woman that is wealthy, but I did not even know that I was selling myself to the devil. The sacrifices that I have made, they are very painful. I have since stopped going to church because I told myself, what is the reason of going to church when I know that my wife worships the devil? So I do not go to church anymore. When you post my story, please tell me. I'll be following through in the comment section.